Shop smart, shop S-smart.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of New Bookhoodis. I'm your host, DeathMetalHero, and with me, Fusebox. What's going on, man?
What's going on?
Oh, okay. we might be
good. How
dealing
about
with
you?
a little bit of lag here, but that's all right. We will power through. Yeah, thanks for coming to hang out, man. Yeah, I mean, you know, technology.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you're very welcome, man. You're very welcome. So tell people, for those that don't know who you are, I know that you've been hanging out in this scene for a little while, but just in case there's people in the audience that are not sure who you are, give people an idea of who you are and what kind of things you do, man.
Well, I am a writer from New Orleans, Louisiana. I dabble in comic writing as well as screenwriting. Writing's my big thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've also, in the past, I've done things like I've done acting and I've done editing for film and stuff. And it was a couple of years ago that I really took notice of the indie comic scene really booming.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided I wanted to throw my hat in the ring. And
Yeah.
I had this story I'd been playing around with in the back of my mind for close to like a decade. And I just figured, it's time to get it out there, because the idea of it being a film, it would have, I was thinking in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, I'll make this a movie when I get super rich and I'm able to afford a big ol' set and everything. And so I decided, why not give it a shot as a comic? And when I restructured it as a comic, I found that it works kind of better as a comic book. So everything's just kind of clicked into place.
Well, I mean, that's what we like to hear, right? Things just working.
Yeah.
And it's funny, sometimes a format update helps you see things a little differently. It changes perspective on the project, and you see, oh wait, this actually worked better this way, and you get you get more bang for your buck, as they say, with the story, because the comics is a unique medium. We are able to do things in comics that would cost an arm and a goddamn leg to do in film, even in animation, because they've got to animate all of that stuff. We can, yes, it will take an artist a long time to draw a whole bunch of ships and whatnot, but it is definitely cheaper than special effects in a movie. But let's go ahead and say hi to the chat. American Comics says, "Hail my chat." First, welcome, American Comics. Good to see you. And there she is.
Woo.
My favorite troublemaker. How's it going, Flying Feline? Good to see you, beautiful. Thank you for being here. Skål. Yeah. And there's this weirdo. Got to watch out for that skull face looking weird guy. Let's see. Good to see you. Oh, hey, we got a Robert Fraga hanging out in the chat. What's going on, dude? Good to see you, brother. Been a while. Yeah, he's good peeps. He's good peeps. But yeah, man, what was the first comic book that you really kind of got into? Like either as a kid or an adult? Like which one? What was the comic that really kind of grabbed you and you're like, yo, comics, all right.
Well, it's kind of funny because I've always been kind of casual with comics. I'm not nearly as invested, I think, as a lot of other folks. But I remember when I was really younger, I was mostly into slice of life comic strip type of stuff. I liked Garfield and Calvin and Hobbes
Can't
and
go
all
wrong
that.
with that.
And yeah, and when I became a preteen, a bunch of my buddies were into superhero, and I kind of read a lot of the compilation books about the overall mythology of the stories. So that's kind of how I first became familiar with the superheroes. And I really liked them overall, like the strokes. And then when I was in my early 20s and I was working at a grocery store, a buddy of mine was a big fan of both DC and Marvel, and so he started bringing comics for me to read at work. And I really got into a lot of the Batman stuff. And I loved in particular, I think my favorite comic that I've read to date is the Hush series for Batman.
Yeah. Hush was a really good story. That story really kind of brought a lot of people back to reading Batman, because I mean it was Jim Lee and it was Jeff Loeb, and that was actually one of the last major storylines that I ever read from DC. I've never been a huge DC fan to begin with, but after that it all just kind of went downhill for me, and I was as I progressed, I just got more and more into the indie sector, like less and less of the big two. And I grew up reading a bunch of superhero comics, and I still love them. I still love my classic superhero. I mean, I got classic Punisher right here from Alex Ross, but characters like the Punisher, Ghost Rider, Moon Knight, those darker characters, and Wolverine before he got taken and made into a children's cartoon, Deadpool, before the same thing happened. Those darker characters I always liked, and that's kind of what I'm looking for in my my indie comics. I like those characters that are, I guess, a little more out there, not necessarily a hero in the strictest sense, but still have their own moral code. The actual anti-hero, they're not bad people, but they do bad things to accomplish their goals. Like an actual anti-hero, not like a villain being turned into an anti-hero. Looking at you, Harley Quinn. So, that's what I grew up with. But as I got older, more and more just indie stuff. I don't know if you can see the spinner racks behind me, but you got Skits the Sun, you got Dr. Alpha right there, you got the Kryptonals.
I see quite a bit.
Right there you got Tropical Magics. Just read Battle Brick Road last night after I got done with the interview with Eric Weathers, and damn, that's a fun book. Fun book. I mean, but all this stuff is great. You got Absolute. Let's see, Absolute right there, Mary Boys, and then She down here. So yeah, give me the indies, because that's where the passion is. That's where the excitement is. That's where the good stories are. The fun characters. Anything from the indie sector that you're looking forward to in particular?
I really enjoyed Anthony Figueroa's book.
God's Hand?
And now I'm blanking on the name now that I'm live on air.
God's Hand.
Yes. I did a review of that on my channel, and I really enjoyed that one.
Hell yeah.
Especially since, it takes place in my hometown. So, I mean...
right? Kind of a vested interest there. I love the way he kind of delved into history and used that to form his story. That was cool. I love that kind of stuff. But yeah, that was a damn good book. Anthony's a good dude, too. He's one of my homies.
And I really dig a Krishna Kid. I love the concept behind it.
Nice. Let's see. I'm going to turn off your echo cancellation and make sure that you don't feel like I'm overriding you, because sometimes when we're talking, it feels like you suddenly feel like I'm talking over you, and this will allow us to have more of a normal conversation. Technology's fun, isn't it?
It might be my fault. My internet sucks.
Well, I mean, the echo cancellation might help. It seems like your video is actually running a little bit better now. I don't know if that I know that little extra little bit helped, but who knows? We'll see. We shall power through. So yeah. So this is the second book that you've put out. Tell me a little bit about the first one. What's I don't know, what inspired your story, I guess.
Oh God, I first came up with this idea a long time ago.
Yeah.
In a galaxy far, far away. I had just seen the first Pirates of the Caribbean in theaters.
Oh, okay.
And
wow. Okay, yeah.
It made me kind of it made me think about the pirate genre in general and just aspects of it that I really liked that I wanted to kind of play with.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to play with it in a setting where it wasn't so limited, like, the 1600s and all that. And so my thought process eventually jumped to, what about like a futuristic setting where everybody's in spaceships?
Mm-hmm. And
after that, I had started seeing more stuff about space pirates, but I always found them like there were elements of them that I felt like it's like, okay, I would have done a little bit less of this, maybe do a little bit more of this. There were always things I wanted to tweak and change. And so that was kind of what got the ball rolling. And eventually I finally developed it to where it is now, which is that this story takes place in the 31st century. Humanity has begun colonizing into outer space, and in many ways it reflects the time period of the discovery of the Americas and such, but on a much bigger scale, because, outer space, like, there's no limit. Like, there's no way to chart it all.
Right.
And so the nations of Earth are all at each other's throats, competing over territory and resources. Everybody wants to be top dog. And because of the separation of the governments on Earth to their colonies, there's a big boom in criminal activity, mainly in piracy. And so it's a very chaotic time period. So in the midst of all this, our main character, Cyrus Lawson, who's this 18-year-old, had a pretty rough history growing up, has moved to a small, really out-of-the-way, insignificant colony called Therese. And he joined the colony guard there to kind of, I guess, live a small-town hero type of dream. Sure. But that dream was ripped right from under him right at the get-go of issue 1, because the pirates of the ship known as Hazard invade the settlement looking for a special piece of data. And this data is going to lead to a treasure that everybody's got their eyes on. And so push comes to shove, without giving a hell of a lot away about issue 1. Our boy has been kidnapped by these pirates.
Oh, no. Unwilling accomplice on an adventure.
And it's funny you were bringing up how you were talking about how you like stories of anti-heroes and such, because in many ways, this is kind of the story of a somewhat heroic kid taking a slightly darker path. Okay. Basically learning that he's got to do certain things to survive in the underworld, and not everything is as clear-cut as he thought it was. And sometimes when you get a choice of like one evil or another, sometimes the lesser evil is better than you thought it was. I hope I'm not being too vague.
He's put in a tough situation and has to make a tough choice as to whether he survives or he lets himself actually live, or strictly holds on to all those little foibles.
Exactly.
All right.
And the pirates, because the pirates of Hazard are not what I would call bad guys, but they're definitely not heroes.
Right. They're privateers. They're out for themselves. They're They're trying to make money. I mean, that was the whole reason why, you know, ships captains and whatnot started being pirates, is because they needed money. They needed to work. And, you know, it was easier to to pick off some of the merchant ships. You know, they didn't always kill the people.
And also,
very
I think
often they did.
And I think like the spirit that goes along with it is similar to the idea of, like, you know, authoritarian versus like people who are more liberty minded, I guess. You know, like
Right.
Pirate ships in many ways, like back in the day, I think not too many people know, like they were very democratic in nature. You know, it was very much like, you know, the captain wasn't really a dictator, and they kind of functioned as their own.
Incentivize his crew to not mutiny.
Yeah.
You know, the
Exactly.
better you took care of your crew and paid them, the more likely they were to be loyal, and make sure that you know, you came back from your raiding expeditions. I mean, yeah, captains had to inspire their men. They had to you know, keep them, you know, entertained. They had to keep them in coin and food and drink, and they had to make sure that they had work for them. You know, that's how they kept their crew. You know. So this is and all of this in space. So this will be fun. So let's go ahead and I'll bring up the campaign here. It's a Chrome tab, and we'll go ahead and let's see. Let's try this one. Yeah. Okay. We'll go ahead and let's play the trailer here. Nice. So who did your trailer for you?
Oh, that was actually the folks who produced the Skits series over there at Verse Films.
Oh, awesome. Karshina and Company.
Yep.
Yeah. Love them. Love them. Michael and Karshina are great. Need to have them on for the new
they've
Skits
been
book.
a huge help.
Yeah. Feline says, fire! That's a great trailer. All right, so issue 2 of Outlaw Knights, Genesis of a Renegade. So yeah, let's see. Let's do this one. We're kind of in the way there. That did not quite work out like I had hoped. So let me readjust the size of the window here. There we go. See, I like to try to maximize the amount of space. All right, so this picks up directly where the first issue left off, and it looks like you've got quite the motley crew of space pirates here. Who's this guy?
And that is actually the villain of this particular issue. He is a pirate hunter working for the British military.
All right, he looks like a badass.
Oh yeah, that's Wellington.
What's up,
and
that bar?
yeah,
Welcome.
with all the cybernetic enhancements, he's a little unhinged.
A little unhinged. Okay. Well, I mean, you know, you can only handle so many cyber upgrades before it starts to affect the mind.
Indeed.
Let's see. All right. So you're doing the you're doing the writing, and you've got Juanito doing the artwork this time.
Yes, indeed.
Nice. Juanito's great, man. And these are
I
these
felt
are his,
like
character.
his. Oh no, those are actually character designs originally done by our first artist, who mysteriously vanished off the face of the earth. I mean,
what?
Nobody's heard
bizarre.
from him.
That's
Nobody's heard from him.
Hope he's okay. Damn.
I do too. I have no idea what happened there, but he just...
Oh, man. That's kind of scary. But
yeah,
these are great character designs. I mean, wow. Okay. But so this got the Juanito doing the artwork for the new book. How many pages are we looking at for this new book?
25. I wanted to make it longer, but I had to make it 25 to keep things affordable.
Right.
But my hope is that if we can pick up some steam as these issues roll out, I'll be able to make things longer. I'll be able to charge a little bit less, you know.
Right. How many issues are you looking to do?
At least 8.
Okay. All right.
Because I got a whole...
Well, see, that's what I'm asking. Got an initial arc, and imagine that you got more in store after that, provided that there's an audience for it.
Absolutely. I've been thinking about it for a while. Like, I know where they're going.
Awesome. And I see you've got a variant cover here by artist Jason Krager, who is phenomenal. Love that dude.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is going to be offered as a poster.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, and so that's the issue 2 plus variant poster here.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. And so just one main cover, which is this one up here, and then the poster, or are you offering
yes.
Variant covers this time as well?
I was going to offer variant covers, but unfortunately my current budget would not allow me to order anything else.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta work within your budget, man. And it maybe as a stretch goal, you could get the Krager poster as a cover. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, and you're in talks with Selena Hernandez to get some chibis done. Excellent. That's going to be the first stretch goal.
Yep.
So who's this guy here?
That is Kodiak. He is the away team leader for the ship, and he is more prominent in issue 1 than he is in issue 2. But he's very slow to trust, but he has good reason.
Well, I mean, he's a space pirate. I'm sure there's very few people he legitimately trusts in real life or in general. So.
And he's the one who first gives you the sense that, like, these pirates have, like, a code of ethics that they go by.
Right.
Because in issue 1, they were working with some pirates that were kind of just hired on, and a couple of them crossed the line, and Kodiak gave them the business with the butt end of his gun.
All right. He is definitely on the fuck around and find out scale of people.
Yes.
Nice. I mean, hey, you gotta have that when you get a crew of space pirates. You gotta have the hard ass that will take care of his crew no matter what, and don't be playing your bullshit up in here, because you will fuck around and you will find out. Kind of.
Oh yeah.
Kind of crucial. Kind of crucial. Got to have that muscle. Let's see. All right. So the very basics here. Get issue 2 of Outlaw Nights. Let's see. The greatest one crafted yet until issue 3. I like that. That's good. That's good. Very, very cool. What's up, Odin? Welcome. Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming to hang out.
I love that dude.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Had an absolute blast hanging out and talking with that guy. We were just talking comics and metal. Yeah, good stuff. and screaming because vocalists. So yeah. All right, issue 2 cover and poster. Okay, so this is the regular cover with a poster of the same. Now, did Krager do the first cover for this one as well?
Yes.
Did he do this cover? Oh, that's fantastic. I thought it looked familiar.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Because I was like, I asked him to do a couple of images, and like my big thing was that I was like, I was gonna pick a cover from them, and I decided on that one because of the psychotic look on Wellington's face. That's what sold it for me.
Yes. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, he looks malicious and lunatic and ready to do harm. Yeah. Very cool, man. And is this from the first issue, or is this from the current issue? This image right here. It's from the current issue. It's that my original art team did 3 pages from this book because our initial plan was that these 2 issues were actually going to be 1 issue. Oh,
and then I found out I had to have it in order in order to make it affordable. So I decided to make the second half issue 2.
Okay, I got you. Okay, so you had a little bit of art done on issue 2, and then Juanito had to come in and take over. Is he doing the whole thing, like pencils, inks, and colors, or is he just doing just the line art?
Just the line art. We've got an awesome colorist from Brazil named Marcos Martin, who's going to be doing the colors.
Marcos is great.
He's already done the colors.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Marcos is great. Absolutely, that's awesome, man. Well, I'm glad you were able to get a new team together to get the book rolling again. It's sometimes that's the hardest part, actually finding a good team that can do the work that you need them to do, and in the time frame.
Yeah, that was
Juanito doing some great work here. Look at
a
this.
while. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I found the best of the best.
Well, I mean, there is no shortage of amazing talent over here in this scene, for sure. We've got some amazing amounts of talent over here. All right, so you've got both issues as digital. Don't want paper, so you can get just both of them delivered directly to you. It's a godsend for those over in especially Australia. Our Australian brethren and sistren seem to get completely screwed over when it comes to shipping.
Yeah,
absolutely ridiculous. So that's a cool thing to have. Both issues, one digitized. What does that mean?
I don't quite know what was going through my head when I made this tier. But I just thought to myself, I'm like, what if somebody wants issue 2 on paper and like they want to do a quick read of issue 1, and they don't want to get like a physical copy or something. I don't know what the hell I was thinking when I did that.
Well, I mean, you could. Now, do you have? Okay, I was about to one on issue 2, digital and physical. So this for the same price, you can get issue 2 both digitally and physically. Do you have on both issues? There we go. That's what I was curious about. If there was a catch-up tier for both issues. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say I don't necessarily see anybody grabbing this one. So I mean, you could add in a digital. If they're picking up both issues physically, could add in the digital for free if they wanted to read it ahead of time.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, just to sweeten the deal on this one, sweeten the pot, as it were. Give people a little more bang for their buck. Let's see, and then get 2 on. Whoops.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
Oh no.
That's all right. Technology, you know. What are you gonna do? All right, scrolling down. I do like this this thing that Indiegogo set up, kind of like Kickstarter has, where they scroll independently. That makes doing shows like this a lot easier. So yeah, maybe just as a nice little thank you, add the digital to that on both issues there. And this one, oh, so this is two copies of issue 2.
Yep.
Nice. Okay, kind of like a retailer pack then.
Oh, we got one of those too.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Got all kinds of tiers here. 3 copies.
It's pretty straightforward.
Issues,
it's mostly just it's mostly just more copies for slightly less.
Okay. Excellent. So you get 10 copies of issue 2. Now, do you okay, there we go. See, I was about to ask, do you have a thing for copies of issue 1 and 2? See that? There you go, retailers. For any of you out there looking, this is what you want for to get the book in your shop. You want to go ahead and because working in a comic shop, I've noticed that if issue 1 and 2 are available at the same time, people are more likely to pick up both because they can get both at the same time. They can, I get a solid chunk of story here. I can get 1 and 2 and start reading them. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, yeah.
Pot sweeteners are always welcome, says Fine Feline. That's right. Listen to the wise Feline. What's going on, 80s Maid? Welcome, good to see ya. That Krager cover poster looks great. Yeah, it do. Both of these covers look fantastic. But this, I love the movement and the action of this image. Lunatic fucking cyborg coming after these guys, and you can see our main hero here. He's trying to get a better vantage point to take a shot at this guy, and I'm guessing this is the captain of the ship.
Yep, that's Ivory.
Ivory. Okay, cool. How many are on Ivory's ship? How big is the crew?
I think it's that there's about 4 or 5 main crew members, and they usually take on a bunch of like temporary hires for each port kind of thing, from port to port.
Okay. Now, over the course of I haven't read the first issue yet, obviously, but the first issue and this one is there. Do we sort of kind of start to figure out why they've kidnapped Cyrus, or is that still a mystery? Is that slowly unfolding as the story goes on?
That's a mystery, and it's we're gonna slowly get an idea of it. Like I believe. Okay. There is a moment where they start to touch on it in this issue.
Okay.
But it's that, Serpent doesn't, he doesn't like to show his hand per se.
Plays everything close to the chest. Plans. I got it. Yeah.
Yes.
And that was the bartender that we saw in the
Yep. Serpent's whole thing is that he's the second in command, the quartermaster. And he specializes in his acting abilities, so he acts as like a con man. He's always putting on different disguises and putting on different acts. Because there's a little bit of the heist element in this, particularly kind of like that Ocean's 11 vibe.
Right. He's kind of like their recon and spy guy. He gets the info.
Yep.
Infiltration, as it were. Nice.
Oh,
and the quartermaster. Yep. Very cool, man. Very cool. All right. Let's see. What else? Man, that is such a striking image. The body language and the movement of these characters. Hell yeah. Let's see. And I think it's cool that you're going to have Chibi Selena do do the chibi characters with the stretch goal. Any other ideas that you want to talk about for stretch goals? Are you keeping those under your coat until you get through the first one?
I don't have too many planned at the moment. The biggest thing has just been that the launch was a lot slower than I was anticipating, so I'm really nervous if we're going to be able to fund this time around.
Okay. Did you have a sign up going around, like an email sign up list?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like most of the backers we've gotten so far have been from the email list.
Cool. Okay.
And it's just been really slow picking up on the main campaign, though. So, but if the worst should happen, if we don't fund this time around, I'm gonna relaunch in early February. Okay. But I haven't given up yet.
Of course not, man. Still got 17 days left, and just getting the word out there and getting people, letting people know that it's there. That's always the biggest hurdle to indie books, is getting the word out there. All right, and is this is from the first book, or the first art team right here? This bit of art.
Yep.
That's great.
And it's one of my favorites of the whole thing. Particularly, it's my favorite of Serpent, because like that's when Serpent's in his main outfit, like he's not in a disguise, like
yeah.
That's his usual getup, and he's got the badass gunslinger look.
Nice. So you said you had originally conceived this as a motion picture. How many movies did you think it would take to tell this story? I know you got 8 issues planned so far, but like as far as movies go, if you had gotten a chance to do it as a film franchise, as it were, how many movies do you think it would have taken?
I probably would have kept it going as long as I could have. Like maybe even like 5-6 movies.
Oh wow. Okay.
But that might be a little generous though.
Right. Well, I mean, when developing things, sometimes they expand, but just the amount of story that's in your head currently. So about 5 or 6 movies, huh? Wow, that's a lot of content. I mean, granted, it all depends on how long the movies would be. I think I'm guessing an average of about a couple hours each movie.
Yeah.
Nice.
I would say so.
Excellent.
But again, I was probably being overly optimistic about that, because I guess for me it's like, yeah, like for me, like the thing about like the genre of pirate stories and stuff is like you can have like an arc like what I'm doing, but then after that there's always room to keep going with new stuff, because it's like that's the whole lifestyle of the romanticized version of pirates, is that they always go on new adventures and new things going on. Like that's what they're all about.
Always new stuff to find, especially out in space. There's always. I mean, I'm assuming there's all kinds of colonies and places all over the galaxy, and for them to, find and pillage.
Oh yeah.
Very cool.
Very much so.
So, what kind of sci-fi? I don't know, what kind of sci-fi books and comics, stories, movies, whatever, like really caught you when you were younger? I mean, it's, you can say Star Wars, obviously, because a lot of people grew up watching Star Wars. But
yeah,
But aside from Star
Wars definitely was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I really liked like what they did with it in anime during the 90s. That Cowboy Bebop,
yes.
Outlaw Star, which, believe it or not, was not what I did not base this title off of the name Outlaw Star. That was totally coincidental.
Right.
But
yeah, I've actually
I just
never
loved
watched Outlaw Star. I've heard good things about it, though.
It was really good. It was one season, but it was totally worth it. And I even liked a little bit of what they did in Tenchi Muyo, aside from the fact that it was obviously a fantasy of a dude having sex with a bunch of alien women. You know, like
a dude and his alien chick harem. Yes, where they were all fighting over him. There were a few of those that came out around that time, and so it was not unique in that it did not exist in a vacuum. I don't know. Those always struck me as funny.
I just always loved the style of
Saber Marionette J. That's the other one I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's another one that's very similar.
Yeah, I just always really liked the blending that they did of like space with like sort of that Western vibe, and also like a little bit of that noir vibe. Like those three together really work for me. Yes.
Yeah. A little bit of that slice of life as well. Cool. So I can imagine that, you know, when they're not out gallivanting around the universe, there's going to be a lot of like, you know, character moments and like really good character based interactions between the crew, and you know, getting to really get to know who these characters are.
Oh yeah, like these first two issues are very action packed and kind of move kind of quickly, and so around like issues 3 and 4, we're gonna start to get more moments where we can slow down and kind of get to know each person.
Okay. I mean, that's the way to start out a story. That's for sure. I mean, you can't start out with the really slow parts because that can get a little boring. You know, just a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, you got to entertain, and you know, you got to make sure the audience care about these characters first. You know, you got to care. You know, you got to see them in action, see them doing things, and go on adventures with them to understand what they're going through. And then, you know, when you start getting, you know, backstories about these characters, you actually can care. You know, you're invested in them because you've been on these adventures. You know, doing an exposition dump on the audience at the beginning, never a good idea. It's been my experience anyway that they'll tune right out. Just go.
Yeah, and it just comes off as kind of like a little cheap. It's like you just kind of, okay, well, here's all the information you need real quick. You know, like it's like no. You want to pace it out. You want people to kind of get into it.
Yeah. And I mean, if it is crucial for everybody to understand certain things about the characters, you know, at the very beginning, you can do like an art book or like a character sketchbook or something like that. Just a little extra, you know, I don't know, like that after dinner mint that adds, you know, that extra little bit of story to the main story, you know. But it adds to it, you know. So yeah. This looks like it's gonna be fun, man. Let's see. I'm trying to think what else I want to ask. This is such a badass image, man. That is eye catching, and I can't wait to see what Juanito does with the book, because that dude is talented. He's been cranking out some killer work recently. Super proud of that dude.
And I particularly zeroed in on him just because I found that, like, when I commissioned art from him, I noticed like his style kind of meshes with the original style from issue 1, so it doesn't feel like it would be a huge transition.
Won't be jarring when the audience opens the book.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, very cool. Let's see. Okay, let me go ahead and read this out to you guys here. Cyrus Lawson was a colonial security officer living out his days being a small-town hero on the out-of-the-way colony Therese. Life was fairly slow and allowed him some measure of peace from his tumultuous upbringing. However, the pirate crew of the ship Hazard have invaded, seeking a very particular piece of data. Our boy stood against them valiantly, but to no avail. Yet mysteriously, a member of the crew in disguise named Serpent took pity on the injured hero. In an instant, injured Cyrus was taken by the crew and patched up. Now Cyrus needs to learn to live in the underworld of the 31st century. Why did these pirates take him? What are they looking for? Can Cyrus overcome his personal disgust for pirates and outlaws? Why did they leave behind some of their crew? And who is the mysterious new pirate hunter? The plot thickens for part 2 of Outlaw Knights, Genesis of a Renegade. Nice write-up, man. I dig that. Thank you. I just recently, I mean, we're talking about pirates and we're talking about space and whatnot. I just recently watched Treasure Planet again. And, you know, Treasure Island is a classic novel. And I really like Treasure Planet. I know some people say that it's you know, greatly animated, but the story is bad. I enjoy the story. I understand that they move the plot along really quick, and sometimes you have to do that. You know, sometimes you've got a lot of story to cover, and you've only got a certain amount of time to cover it in. So when you know, sometimes you gotta move. You got to get to the important parts. You know, the meat of the story. You can't just languish in the Benbow Inn. But I digress. Really love the space pirate feel that you got going on here. This is definitely, you know, more technology based, more, you know, our world technology. The you know, in Treasure Planet, it was more of a fantasy type pirate ships with their solar sails and stuff out in space, and you know, that I thought was really cool. But I also love the kind of like hardcore sci-fi version of space pirates you got here, you know, which, you know, makes sense given our world, and it's the 31st century, so there's an entire century gone by removed from where we are. So there's all kinds of stuff going on. What's up, Tokame? Welcome, brother.
Oh, definitely.
Good to see you, Seth. Treasure Planet.
And that was honestly one of the big things for me was like I noticed a lot of space pirate stories. Like that was another thing for me was like a lot of them tried really hard to kind of mimic pirates from back in the day and all. And to me, it usually comes off as goofy. And it's like I wanted to veer away from that, you know, like I wanted to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, goofy pirates have kind of been done to death, so you know, might as well have some serious pirates. I mean, you can have lighthearted pirates, and still tell a serious story. I mean, there's levity because people. But yeah, I like the technological kind of, like I said, the hard sci-fi. There's a lot of blending of genres, and sometimes it's refreshing to have just a straight science fiction story, rather than like, oh yes, there's science fiction, but there's also this mystical element out here, you know. And I don't mind that, but like I said, sometimes it's a palate cleanser to have just straight up sci-fi, you know, just a science fiction story out in space. Because
I would agree with that a lot, like really, like, yeah, because the main, it's funny that like I usually don't like magic combining with sci-fi, although that was the main element I enjoyed in Star Wars, weirdly enough, was like I didn't care as much about like the wars themselves. Like I liked the concept of the Jedi and the Sith, but
I mean,
other than that
took center stage. Space wizards.
Yeah,
Space
like other than that though,
swords.
I just Oh yeah, and I loved that whole thing of like that weird, you know, that religion and that esoteric feeling about it. But that was pretty much the only time I think I've ever really gotten into magic and sci-fi combining.
Yeah. No, I can understand that, and I think that's where a lot of people, they got their first combining of like, because it's Star Wars is not science fiction the way Star Trek is science fiction. Star Wars is more science fantasy, you know. because you've got those fantastical elements that are not based in science per se, but in fantasy element tropes, you know, like the Jedi Knights, you know. So I mean, it was a good blending of genres, and it's one that, you know, up until recently stood the test of time. Now the older movies, you know, they still hold up. Not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but, you know, head and shoulders better than the monotonous crap that we got later, that's for sure. Seth says, as a gamer, I feel this has either a Traveler or an EVE Online feel to it. I'm greatly liking the look and feel to it. Hell yeah.
I'm not really familiar with those games, sadly.
Mm.
Oh, I do, but I don't think I've ever played those two, so I can't say for sure.
I'm not familiar with Traveler, but EVE Online is space stuff. Yeah, Star Trek is pseudoscience babble. Yes, I know. I know. There's a certain level of like creative license that's used in science fiction. I mean, you just got to come up with some scientific terms that you can kind of like put together and make it seem like a plausible thing. That's how science fiction works. At least all the science fiction that I've ever read. Because I'll go and research certain topics.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I was just saying, like, that's why I like this book is not about the technology or the actual science behind it. It's more of just the adventure and the setting and stuff. And there is some cool tech, but it's not overly scientific because I wasn't the best in science.
Yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily need a background in science to write science fiction, but I mean, it don't hurt. But you know, doing the reason, all it has to do is sound plausible. You know, that's plausible enough to get over the threshold of suspension of disbelief. You just got to get over people's threshold of suspension of disbelief, and then you can tell the story. You know, getting bogged down in scientific terms and explaining scientific terms will absolutely grind your story to a halt, and you'll lose the audience real quickly. They'll just kind of glaze over, you know.
Oh yeah, I can like if somehow it works in Star Trek, but I don't know. Like I have mixed feelings about Star Trek. It's like there's elements of it I really like, and there's elements of it I really dislike.
Okay, I can see that. Seth says Traveler is a hardcore intergalactic RPG focusing on traveling between planets. It's a huge RPG game filled with lots of tech, swashbuckling, and heavy space combat. Nice. That sounds fun. Yeah, sounds like something you might need to check out, man.
Oh, yeah.
But.
And I think Bethesda's coming out with Starfield next year.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That looks really interesting.
Yeah, Bethesda games always look really interesting. They got good concepts. I hope it's not a fucking buggy mess like every other game they've put out in the last like 20 years. I mean, there are bugs and glitches in Skyrim that they still haven't fixed, and that game came out like what 15, 20 years ago. They just keep re-releasing it.
From what I understand,
one of these re-releases. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, like I agree, but it's like from what I understand, it's that they literally have used the same engine for each game like over and over. Yeah, like they take the same exact engine that they used on like their first stuff, and like they just keep replicating it. So that's why you see a lot of the same bugs carrying on into new games.
Yeah. Maybe they put together a new engine for this. Maybe they, maybe they used Unreal 5 this time and actually have something that works. But we'll see. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, Bethesda learning from their mistakes? Let's see. Traveler has been around as a pen and paper RPG for, looking it up because I can't remember, since 1977. Ah, very cool.
Oh, wow.
Gotta love the pen and paper RPGs. That's where all of the digital RPGs get their basis from. That's where they got their impetus, as it were, their basic structure, and then they just adapted it to video games, and then there's been twists and turns on the structure and whatnot. But yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun, man. I dig the world that you're building here, and it seems like a fun story. Nice hardcore sci-fi. Thank you, Feline. I appreciate that. Got the Wikipedia here for Traveler, the role-playing game. Nice. So, is there anything else that you want to say about Outlaw Nights before we go ahead and wrap this one up?
Well, I would say we brought up Treasure Island, and it's funny, like the character dynamic of Treasure Island is kind of the core of the story. In many ways, Cyrus Lawson is kind of a different version of Jim Hawkins.
Nice.
And
okay.
Ivory is a far more charming and fun and witty version of Long John Silver.
Nice. I mean, he's supposed to be Long John Silver's supposed to be a scoundrel, but by the end of the book, you're supposed to kind of understand him a little bit better and have a little bit of sympathy for the old codger. He's been through hell trying to get this treasure. Yeah. Seth says it looks like a great sci-fi story. As a huge fan of content like Babylon 5, I can't wait to read this.
Oh, thank you so much.
That reminds me, will there be any alien species showing up in your book? Or is it just
There will be aliens. There will be aliens, but they're not going to be like hyper intelligent, like they're not going to be humanoid. They're all pretty much going to be just animals.
Okay.
But they're going to be freaky.
Freaky animals. All right, I gotcha. The art looks amazing too. Yes, it does. From the covers that Krager did for you and the interior work that Juanito is producing for you, man. You got a great team on this book, and it deserves to get some eyes on it and keep rolling, because we need the hardcore sci-fi up in here. Enjoy that stuff.
I agree.
Got something for everybody over here in this indie scene, man, and that's one of my favorite things about it, is that if you're looking for hardcore sci-fi, if you're looking for fantasy, if you're looking for cape stuff, superheroes, we got it over here, all of it.
Oh, definitely, and way more artistic freedom.
Oh, 100%, man. That is the beauty, and that's always been the beauty of indie comics. Even back in the 80s, hell, the 60s, underground artwork like R. Crumb and Gilbert Shelton with his Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. Like those guys were doing their own fucking thing back when it was not popular to do your own thing. But underground comics, man. And in the black and white indie scene of the 80s, I mean, when the creative talent was sick of the big two shit, they went and made their own stuff. That's where we got the Ninja Turtles. That's where we got the Crow eventually. And then obviously Image in the 90s. The top talent at the big two were like, you know what? Fuck this shit. We're out. And yeah. And the rest is history. Freaky animals, you say? Yes, freaky animals.
Oh, yeah.
Troublemaker. Beware the space whale. They call it Moby. Oh, crap. Yes, I love this idea. The creatures are wild beings of deep space. Hell yes. That's one of the things that I thought was cool about Treasure Planet. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up here. Please join me tonight at 9 p.m. With Brian Kriskow. We'll be talking Six Gun Gorilla. Ben, thanks for coming to hang out, man, and thank you for bringing Outlaw Nights to show to the audience. Guys, the links are in the description. Go back this book if you're a fan of hardcore science fiction and great artwork, As you can see, you get great covers by Jason Krager, and Juanito's going to do it up right with the interiors. So yeah. Anything else you want to say before we take off, man?
Oh man, just wanted to thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Exposure's been my biggest hurdle in this campaign, so I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, man. You are more than welcome. And I guess that's it. We will see you guys next time. And always remember,
Shop smart, shop S-smart.